What is going on, everyone? It was day 6 of training camp for the Houston Texans, and boy, did second overall pick CJ Stroud struggle. We're going to talk about his performance, and if you are going to the open practice on Friday, I will be there, and I will be at every open practice that the Houston Texans have left. I went to the first two. It was so exciting. The love for football is back in H-Town, man, and most of the pictures and videos that you're going to see were taken and edited by me, so make sure you guys are following me on my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm going to drop the links in the description below. If you are new here to the channel, I drop daily Houston Texans content, and we are so close to 7K subscribers, so definitely like, comment, and hit that sub button. Now, shout out to DJ Bienemy, Cole Thompson, Brooks Cabina, and Cody Stutes. We are going to be pulling some quotes from them today. They do an absolute great job of covering the Houston Texans. Now let's go ahead and find out how day 6 of training camp went for the Houston Texans. This is from my guy DJ Bienemy. Another observation from the first 2 days of camp. The first team defensive front has shut off the running lanes. D'Amico has all the pieces needed to produce a respectable defensive front. That is no surprise to anyone. We knew that as soon as head coach D'Amico Ryans was hired, that this Houston Texans defense was going to take a big step forward just as soon as he walks into the building. And we've already seen it right before our eyes at practice. This Houston Texans defense has been the star of the show, and no matter who the quarterback is, CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, or Case Keenum, they are having a hard time moving the football through the air, and it's the whole entire defense, not just the secondary, but it is the linebackers too. Who is going to be starting come week 1? This competition in the LB group is very crazy, and the defensive line can do no wrong, and when you have Will Anderson Jr., man, it is getting absolutely scary. Shout out to head coach D'Amico Ryans for getting this defense right. Another thing, notice, Titus Howard and Lermy Tunsil are worth every penny. When I say they're worth every penny, it's mainly because there's a noticeable drop-off from their backups. And CJ is still learning how to operate a muddy pocket, something he didn't see often at Ohio State. This is why I am so happy that General Manager Nick Caserio invested into this offensive line. Giving Lermy Tunsil that 3-year extension, trading up for Juice Scruggs in the second round, traded for Shaq Mason and giving him a 3-year deal, and then Titus Howard, you just gave him a monster 3-year deal a couple of days ago. There was 3-year deals contracts given out to the Houston Texans, and all of them were on the offensive line. It is clear that the Houston Texans have invested into rookie quarterback CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud at Ohio State, man, had one of the best offensive line in college, might have been the best, so it's crazy to see how much the drop-off is when LT and Titus Howard are not playing. More observations from our guy DJ Bienemy. Can't lie, Christian Harris sideline to sideline has stood out. The speed is different. He could develop into a Drew Greenlaw type linebacker. Harris had a tackle for loss today. But it appears the other two spots are up for grabs, and there is also no clear number 1 wide receiver right now. Christian Harris just doesn't come off the practice field. The past 2 open practices to the public, him and Henry TuruTuro were getting a lot of times with the ones. What is Christian Harris going to bring in year 2? Is this a player who was going to take a big step forward with new head coach D'Amico Ryans with taking the helm of this Houston Texans defense? Now we go to our guy Cole Thompson and get some Houston Texans training camp observations from him. Steven Nelson was never leaving. He's too good against number 2 wide receivers. Linebacker Christian Harris has looked much more comfortable playing in space. Tight end play is a must for this offense. Nico Collins had his best day. Defensive line looks fire, meshing well with the secondary, and it is really hot. 2 different reporters saying some of the same stuff. The linebacker Christian Harris is balling out, and that this defensive line looks scary. And shout out to Cole Thompson, who does a great job covering the Houston Texans. Now we go to the Cody Stutes 11 observations for training camp, and make sure you guys are following my guy Cody Stutes. He does a great job covering this team. Davis Mills had a better day at quarterback than CJ Stroud. It was the second day in a row where Mills beat Stroud. Not to say anything looked amazing for Mills, but he was a bit more solid than Stroud. These scorecards are tied up with Mills winning 2 practices, Stroud winning 2 practices, and 2 draws between the quarterbacks. Hey, back-to-back days, Davis Mills has been playing good. And this is the kind of competition that I wanted to see. Because the first couple of practices, Davis Mills just was not it. I'm very impressed to see that he has had a very solid 2 days. And if he keeps this up, maybe he starts the preseason. I don't know. It's going to get interesting if Davis Mills puts together a couple of more practices, good practices at that. Davis Mills had the play of the day for the offense. During a team portion, he dropped back and with a solid base, he flicked the ball into the air right into the arms of Nico Collins. The gain was easily over 35 yards and was over and between 2 defenders. Collins hauled it in with ease. Do not forget, man, in Davis Mills' rookie season, he had one of the best deep balls in the NFL. The above-mentioned play of Mills to Collins never should have happened. Like Monday's big play from Mills to rookie wideout Xavier Hutchinson, there was a defender who would have made the play. Monday it was Will Anderson. Tuesday it was Jalen Petrie. He was flying off the edge and would have smashed Mills in a live rep. Petrie is everywhere for this defense. He's been one of the best players on the field. Man, I think Jalen Petrie is going to be an all-pro. But to hear that Davis Mills had a very nice pass to Nico Collins, it does get you excited, man. Where was this the past 2 seasons? Now we get to hear how C.J. Stroud did, and from what we heard, it wasn't very good. C.J. Stroud did a few things nice despite having a roller coaster day. Stroud's wideouts didn't help him out on a couple of nice plays. Steven Sims dropped a pass near the sideline twice. Noah Brown jumped for no reason on a Stroud pass and dropped the ball. Nico Collins fell down, coasting the offense on an easy gain. The passes were there, but Stroud's catches didn't make some of those plays. Another huge play for Stroud was wiped out by a holding penalty that wasn't even near the play. Stroud's unit did make it deeper in the situational 2-minute drill. It sounds like nothing was going wrong whenever C.J. Stroud was throwing the football, but that's okay. I am fine with my rookie quarterback struggling. This is the growing pains, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone who is upset about C.J. Stroud having a rough 2 practices, man, I don't know what to say to them. C.J. Stroud threw his 3rd interception of camp on Tuesday. Stroud whipped his head around and saw a receiver that looked open, but Steven Nelson read it like a book and was there. Offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick said a lot of times Stroud can identify exactly what went wrong right away. This echoes something DeMeco Ryans said on Monday about how players handle mistakes. It wasn't the great bounce-back day I hoped for Stroud, but a day off tomorrow, then Thursday presents another opportunity. Hey, man, C.J. Stroud, he needs to get some rest. A rough 2 days, but I would rather C.J. Stroud mess up than Davis Mills mess up. And the fact that Davis Mills is also playing good, it makes me feel a little bit much better about this quarterback competition. If C.J. Stroud is not ready, man, then the Houston Texans are going to go with whoever they think is going to win them some games. And I could definitely see the Houston Texans starting Davis Mills in the preseason, not the regular season just yet. Just imagine if he keeps on putting together a couple more good practices. Christian Harris diagnosed a broken play on offense and best C.J. Stroud to his spot for no gain. It looked like maybe Jalen Petrie had the first made the play, but if he hadn't, Harris certainly would have. The linebackers had a nice day diagnosing the offense and getting into the position. The linebacker room will have some tough cuts. I wouldn't have said this weeks ago. Jake Hansen, who surprised everyone when he made the team's initial 53-man roster last year, had some nice plays Tuesday. Henry Tua drew immense praise from defensive coordinator Matt Burke for his ability to adjust in practice to mistakes. Denzel Perryman flies around. It's a deep group, something that in previous years wasn't true. This is the DeMeco Ryans effect. This is what happens when you get one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, and it makes it so much better that he is from the H-man. We hear about our boy Big Sexy Roy Lopez, who met the Mexican OT. Roy Lopez has been having a nice camp. I believe it was back-to-back plays where Lopez had a huge impact. The first was a tackle for a loss where he just barreled through the offensive line on a run play. The next, he was, it said, stemmed on a pass play, but he tossed his left hand into the air, getting a pass breakup. Lopez is trending toward clearly owning a roster spot. And then we hear finally about Will Anderson Jr. Here is your daily Will Anderson does things he shouldn't be able to do update. The rookie defensive lineman took his initial steps on a play, and then he quickly diagnosed the play as a screen. He sped off and then made the stop on the wide receiver. Yes, Will Anderson lined up defensive end, made the tackle on a wide receiver screen. Defense coordinator Matt Burke explained maximizing Will Anderson's skill sets with the way the team is set up to use them is a priority. Once again, Will Anderson is going to be the rookie defensive player of the year. This was day 6 of training camp, guys. You let me know your thoughts. As always, go Texans. You guys have a very blessed day.